farm laws, that's been one of the highlights and one of the things that's made headlines from your economic survey as well. Now, one of the things that while even the IMF said that it's a much needed reform, but they also talked about the fact that it needs safety nets. These kind of reforms need safety nets. Looking at the kind of situation that we're seeing, we have farmers protesting. They've been sitting there for more than almost 2 months now. What would you say is that kind of solution or safety net that you would propose?
I think, the PM Kisan program, which is directed at the small and marginal farmers, has provided a safety net. It is also important that the small and marginal farmer especially is provided options. Currently, given the situation, that small and marginal farmer is beholden to actually the APMC, and the group that actually in the APMC, the middlemen. So as a result, the small and marginal farmer does not have the option. And again, this is basic common sense that is actually backed by John Nash's research as well, Nobel Prize winning research, that if a seller does not have an option to go and sell his or her produce to someone else, then the buyer will extract all the value out of that relationship, and therefore the seller will have to sell it at really almost throwaway prices. But if the seller has the option to be able to go and buy it from someone, just the threat that I don't need to sell it to you, I have the option of going and selling it to someone else, that increases the price that the small and marginal farmer gets. So I think providing those options is important part of the safety net, so that the farmer actually gets good proportion for his produce. For instance, the evidence shows that the small and marginal farmer gets only 8 to 10% of the value add that he creates in the in that transaction between him and the buyer of that produce. 90% of that is cornered by the middleman. If the small and marginal farmer is able to get even 50% of that, then the price that he gets is much higher, and that is really makes him much well off. So together with these the safety nets of PM Kisan, just making sure that the small and marginal farmer has this option is what is the most critical part of the farm bill, and that is what it is doing. You understand very well, Sunetra, that there is, in a democracy, there is the politics as well. If you again go by the data, if you compare the income of farmers in states like Punjab and Haryana with those in some of the other states, the Punjab and Haryana farmers are actually far richer than farmers in the other states, and I think the reform actually enables the small and marginal farmer to benefit significantly. I think that economic aspect continues to remain. I am sure there are other dimensions here which are beyond economics that are at play, which I do not have I'm not intending to comment upon that, because I want to restrict myself to the economics.
Yes, because otherwise farmers, they know the economics. They know if it's good money for them, they would have. And the fact is, it's not just Punjab and Haryana farmers protesting. It's UP farmers. They're farmers from Uttarakhand, as ground reports show us. So it's interesting to know why they would reject this. Because I ask you this only because your economic survey talks about the reform, and this was something which was seen by the government as beneficial to the farming community. So it's interesting to note why it is that the farmers would, as you're saying, if it's as pure economics that they would make more money and this cuts out the middleman, why is it that they're rejecting it so much?
I think it is equally interesting, Sunetra, to note, and we've actually, in the first chapter of the economic survey, put a table for the number of committees, economic surveys that have actually recommended these reforms. Many former chief economic advisors in their economic surveys have time and again pointed this reports, headed by people like Montek Singh Ahluwalia and others have also recommended it. So if there's an equal number of economists actually, and economists across the political spectrum who've actually recommended this as well. So which is also something, equally interesting to take note of.